Yeah, let's do it.
All right, on this episode of Bare Knuckle Bowker, very excited to be talking to an individual who headlines the looming BKFC Fight Night Kansas card, which goes down on August 16th. And we have Jake
Sir.
Lindsey knuckling up and towing the line against Elvin Brito and Great Heaven Elvin on Bare Knuckle Bowker. How's everything going, man? You having a solid day so far?
Yeah, it's been good. It's been busy. I'm always Mondays is always that. Mondays is uh my heavy training day, and also it's been really I've had a lot of stuff going. I had a lot of stuff happen last weekend, so it's been a little busier than normal. On top of that, so it's good though, man. Like I like the pressure, and I'm okay with you know having to stay on the move because uh it's just when you build yourself up for fights, it's not just physical. There's a mental aspect to it too, and there's a spiritual aspect to it. You have to be able to build off of something, and right now, this there's not much that I can't deal with. So right now, I'm just and I'm feeling great. It's been really it's been really rewarding. Last, I've had a lot of bad that I didn't agree with. My loss called me. When I fought Omaha, still I've been able to stay in the game, and not only that, but still make a difference and do a lot of things inside and outside the ring. And I'm just looking forward to go back in there and just finally get back in the ring and start working back to regaining what's rightfully mine. I feel like I should still be the 165-pound champion. So that's what I'm working for.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Like you had those decisions not go your way, and I do feel like
Yeah,
there is a sentiment out there from some people who had watched
yeah.
those fights that you could have easily gotten that nod. But I mean, that definitely wasn't the case the last time out. I mean, getting a win over a previously undefeated bare knuckle fighter and also someone from, I mean, you fit within this description as well. And as far as coming from a great team, but I feel like Ja'Far Fortt also has that going with him, being
Oh
that
yeah,
he's
no,
from that shift combat team. Yeah.
Jafar's a great, he comes from a good team. He's a great boxer. He's a very athletic dude. He's a tough dude. Bare knuckle it's a different animal. And I know Jake Lindsey. Jake Lindsey is not even as I really believe that he's not even as technical or athletic as a boxer as uh my last opponent as Ford. But I think he's going to be a little bit more resilient, and he's going to be a little bit tougher just because he's a little bit more seasoned. He's not necessarily going to be better, but it's bare knuckle is such a different animal. There's so many different factors included, but this should be a very interesting fight. Um, there's nothing against any of my opponents. Ford Ford is a great athlete, and I think that my next opponent, Lindsey, is also a tough dude, and he's been fighting mixed martial arts. He's been in the UFC. He's been doing everything. He's been doing this for a long time. So he's a fighter in his own right, and I have my respect for him in that thing. But when we get in the ring, this is where it's the hurt game. This is especially in bare knuckle. It's all about who's the better fighter. It's not about who's the stronger, who's a bigger fighter. Even though I'm strong and I'm fast, and it's not about who's bigger, who's stronger. It's all about who's the better fighter and who's able to employ his game in there fast. And there's a psychological aspect, who's going to break. And I just feel like, I'm the best 165-pounder in the world, and I'm going to Jake Lindsey coming out there and to his home territory again, to another home territory, Elvin Brito, to come with no fear. I'm not scared or worried about being in hometown because I already know that when I show up over there, it's going to be undeniable.
Yeah, you do have a
It doesn't
history
matter.
of, fighting guys on their home turf. And I
Yeah,
mean, you talk
yeah,
about being on that path to, get
yeah,
the championship again. I mean, I feel like fighting a
yeah,
former challenger for the title and the number two ranked contender would really serve you in that regard.
yeah. And mixed, bare knuckles a new sport, and I really like there was a lot of. I've been building myself up from BKFC 3. This is my 11th fight, and I've been going through a process. Right now I'm in a different part of my career. especially after those two losses, my sentiment is different, my spirit is different. So everything is starting from a different place, and so everything's being employed differently because it's starting from a different ground place. I have the abilities and the skill, the mental ability to do that. Everybody can do that, but I'm not like remaking myself. I'm just tapping into a lot of things that I hadn't done in a while. But I know that this version of me that's going to show up is going to be the best version. Is I'm gonna and we're going to be in the 16-foot ring, and I don't plan on going to the judges. I don't want to see a decision for the rest of my career. I'm either gonna beat the hell out of Jake Lindsey or he's gonna catch me and stop me. It's gonna be one or the other. You know.
Yeah, that seemed like a facet of your last fight as well, just speaking to like the smaller dimensions of the ring. Like, I mean, do you feel like that'll lend itself to like a certain
So the new
complexion
style that I've
within
been
the fight?
working on, yeah, just because my new approach is different. And because even my I said when I first started doing bare knuckle, I was just it was BKFC 3. They offered me a whole bunch of money to do it. It was like really kind of last minute. And I was like, oh yeah, I'll do that. And I didn't even know if I wanted to do it again. And really, if you watch a lot of my fights, like half my fights I don't even bleed. But because a lot of times, especially in the beginning of a career, I'm just fighting for a paycheck. But when you're fighting for a paycheck, you're never gonna be a champion. You gotta have something more than that. I've been blessed that not only I like the money, but I've been able to really find a reason to fight bare knuckle 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 times. It's well, most people don't have a reason to do that. I do it. I love the sport. I love my role in the sport. And I really I can't wait to show up over there. I said I'm ready to fight right now. I just can't wait to show over there because all I'm going over there is taking my place. That's why I really don't matter. It doesn't matter whether it's Kansas City or in California or wherever, Florida. My approach is going to be different. We're not going to leave it to the judges. I'm not going in there to get for a paycheck. I'm going over there to take what's mine. Jake Lindsey's in my way, so I'm going to remove him.
It's interesting you describe it like that. Was there a key point where you noticed that certain shift from, just fighting for a paycheck to like a greater, I guess, like sense of purpose within the sport? Because you seem like very impassioned about it and everything like that, and very much like looking to, stay the course with it. And obviously, as evidenced by this being the 11th bare knuckle fight, like when did you notice that certain shift you were talking about there?
Uh, you know, um, I love fighting. I've been fighting longer than I haven't been fighting. I've been fighting since I was 16. I'm 38. I'll be 39 by the time I get to fight in the ring with Jake Lindsey. And um, I love fighting. I did boxing. I did mixed martial arts. At an amateur level, at a pro level, at a high level. I was a champion in every sport that I ever participated in. But I also helped make champions too. And being in bare knuckle, I think that honestly, the jungle camp was a huge part of it. I had so many high level guys that I mean, these guys are like my brothers, they're like family now. But I had so many guys come out here and trust me, to be in a leader position and not because I'm not gonna fight for them. Anybody fights for themselves, but to I have people depending on me for me to make the right decision, And if you for you to make the right decisions for everybody, you have to love what you're doing. It can't be something that you do just because for the money, because it's gonna show, luckily, like I love fighting. My favorite part of fighting is the fighters, and really, um, losing in bare knuckle was probably the biggest thing for me because making the money is good, but I have a fighter's pride, and losing in the fights when I lost, I won my first fight by knockout. I got caught my second fight by Jim Allers. I lost a decision with Palomino, a fight that I could have easily won. And then I was like, man, I felt like after losing those two fights and the way that I lost them, I was like, man, I could do this. Like I have to. I feel like I've been denying myself a lot of things, and it's almost like the phone's ringing and you don't like coming up with any excuse not to answer the phone. And that's really how I felt like at some point I had to answer the call. It's a lot of responsibility and a lot of burden that comes with it. But really, that's really when I started having a renewed passion for the sport and for myself. After these losses, they're like, "Elvin, you're done." And I'm like, "Bro, I'm not done." Like, so I had to, after I lost Palomino, I won. I beat Caleb Harris. Then I fought Brad Kelly. Then I fought Julio Garcia, former world champion. Then I fought um, um, when I fought Julio Garcia, yeah, he was a really good boxer, and I wanted to prove to myself, like you're saying, that it's not just about the money. That I really wanted to be a champion. That I could be a champion, and to fight a guy like that, who's a former champion in boxing, reached the highest level. And I know that it's a different sport. It's not boxing. If it was boxing, he probably would have beat me. But knowing that it was bare knuckle fight and that I had to show the difference out there, it was a huge fight for me, mentally, mental gain, and then going into the fight with Caleb Harris. Me and Caleb Harris, if you watch that fight, we poured our heart out there. Me and him, it was 10 minutes nonstop. The pacing is not something you see every day. The pace that we went, we poured our heart out there. We both cried after we were done. We really tried real hard to get that championship. We got I got that belt, rightfully so. I worked hard for it. And then when I fought for the belt with Palomino, I was when the last bell rang, we were so confident that it was just a clean, because we're not that when we got the odd decision, he got the nod. We weren't surprised because of where we were, but at the same time, I was like, damn, I can't believe you guys really did this to us. But then, when I went to Omaha, I was a hometown guy. He knocked me down early, and I went out there and I pushed every round. I threw more punches. I landed more punches. I landed harder punches and everything. But this style that I had developed through the years in bare knuckle was very efficient. It worked very good for me, especially when I was fighting for money. But at this level that I'm fighting now, I can't fight a safe style. Like I can't play it safe. If I really want to be a champion, if I have to show, because I know I'm a champion. If I have to show people that I'm the champion, I can't play it safe. I can't go out there and play a safe game. Now, when I was younger, like I had done another interview before. I was telling them how fighting. I've been fighting for so long. They say, hey, you can live a whole bunch of lives in your life. And fighting for me, it's been the same thing. I was a boxer. I was a mixed martial arts fighter. I was a top ranked fighter in mixed martial arts. I was 7-0. I got my arm broken in my 7th fight. I still won a unanimous decision, but I broke my ulna. And it was, it took me about a year to recover. I came back. I won my comeback fight. But I was 6-0. Then I was 7-0 after I won my comeback fight. But I was never the same. I ended up being Island Fights champion, but I was never the same. I used to drop every single fighter I ever fought with. Every single fight I ever got for, I would drop every guy. That up to that point, so I got my arm broken, I dropped every single fighter that I ever fought with, whether I won or lost. But I was never the same after that. Obviously, because I got my arm broken. But after years and years and years, where like the psychological barrier had already been broken, the physical barrier had already been broken, but there was this mental barrier that had already been established, where like my body's like not doing stuff because you already trained yourself not to do it, and so that made me a different fighter. It made me become a different fighter because I'm thinking differently, and then recently this last year I've been just going back. I'm like, you know what, I'm going to try to go back to the stuff that I used to do, and then that I had this realization that there was this mental barrier that I had crossed. There was the psychological barrier was never a problem. The physical barrier, eventually we got over it, because if you work in the heel, you get healed. My arm's better. I broke this arm. You can still see it, but my arm's better. It's fine. It's stronger than ever. But then there was this part where like I just got used to dealing with it. I never went back to how I was. I never went back to how I was before the fight, before I got my arm broken. And when I started trying to do that, I mean, I just recently, that was like 14 years ago. That was years ago. It was like over a decade ago. now that when I finally started doing it, I realized that I could have been doing it the whole time. When I started hitting people with the same way, when I started doing what I used to do and applying the pressure that I used to apply, and I started throwing the overhand that I used to throw, I was getting the same exact reaction people, but even worse because now I'm a more seasoned fighter. I'm a better fighter, a better version of that person. I'm a better version. I believe right now, even at my age of 39, I'm the best version of myself that I ever been. And when I go in there, I'm a commanding bare knuckle fighter. There's not too many people that could fight bare knuckle the way that I do.
And I think it speaks volumes. I mean, you didn't necessarily phrase it specifically in this way, but it almost seems like the fact that you were BKFC's inaugural welterweight champion, just like this desire to become a two-time champion, has almost usurped that mental hurdle that was established from that
Yeah,
serious injury earlier in your
yeah,
career.
yeah. No, like because I had to dig deep. I'm like, look, because I have to do something different. But like, it's not about remaking myself. It's like I'm gonna have to go back. My last fight, I called my friend jiu-jitsu. He started doing mixed martial arts the same day I did years ago. Uh, and I mean, 15, 16 years ago. I don't know exactly, but it was years ago. We were doing, but he used to be my training partner for my amateur days, and we used to fight in the pack, and we used to all my fights were finishes. It was just beating people down. I'm like, bro, I need you to come. I need you to be at this fight. When I fought at Ford, I was like, I need you to be at this fight because we're gonna give an old school pack style beat down. And these guys don't know me, but you do. I need you to be there, bro. And he came, and it was just like the old days, better than ever. And this next fight is gonna be, we're gonna go past that. We're gonna go. We're gonna go to a new plateau. That's what we've been working on.
Yeah, no, I love hearing that, man. And it seems, I mean, you kind of referenced it earlier too, like just the fact that you're, paying that knowledge forward to a lot of people on
Yeah,
your team. Like I thought it was cool
yeah,
seeing you in Isaiah Washington's corner at
yeah.
BYB 27 along with
No,
Lorenzo
yeah,
Hunt.
yeah. No, and then when people depend on you, it's a huge responsibility when they really depend on you. I have a family. I have wife and kids. I've been married for 15 years. I have three boys. My family depends on me. But I have a team of people. I have people that I depend on. I really, as a professional fighter, the guys that are pros, they know how hard it is to be a pro. Most of us are broke. And if it wasn't for our sponsors and our patrons, we really couldn't do it by ourselves. But we do always have people that support us. But we ourselves are a support system for our people too. We're part. It's a reciprocal system. Everybody has to play their role, for everything to work out right, and everybody. So, for a long time, it was a lot of frustration, after I lost the fight in Omaha, but I already had set my mind that what I was going to do in my next fight, that I wasn't going to leave it to the judges, that I was going to dig deep and go back to some old things that I used to do. And I was willing to just play my role, work with my guys, work with all the fighters that came out here. A lot of guys come out here during that time and make a difference for me. And now it's my turn. It's time. I'm up, and I feel great. Uh, Fight's coming. I've been really waiting long enough. The fight's coming right around the corner, and I cannot wait to get there August 16th. And I think it's perfect that it's perfect that I'm in enemy territory, because it's perfect for my fight. I've always been a guy that has really suffered, even as an amateur, even as an mixed martial arts, especially in Florida. I hate the Florida Commission judges, not the judges. A lot of the commission guys are good, but I just hate the judges. How many unfair losses that I had, and all that frustration over the years with all that stuff. And so I already know how I was going to get into this fight, and all this thing that's been building up. I just can't wait to go in there and fight Jake Lindsey. Jake Lindsey doesn't know me. We've not really met. He doesn't know what kind of person I am. So it's gonna be great to show up there in enemy territory and just uh take it from them. I'm not gonna let them take it from me. It's something that I've been doing with my whole career. Jake's gonna have to stop me, and it's gonna be really hard. So it's either he's gonna catch me, or it's gonna be another punishment.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, you're squarely focused on this fight and certainly not overlooking anything, as
No.
we've kind of talked about. But I mean, the
Mm.
title focus has been a topic of discussion for sure. So I guess in just saying
Always.
that, like,
Yeah.
who do you foresee yourself facing? Obviously, predicating on you getting your ideal outcome
Well,
here. Like,
Trout,
who do you? Yeah.
I want to fight for my belt. I don't care who has my belt. Trout has my belt now. I want to fight Trout. I would love to fight Trout. Trout's a world class boxer. I think a guy like him, I already fought world class boxers and Julio Garcia, but I would like to fight Trout because him being a boxer, him being bare knuckle, and him being left handed, I could show him something he's never seen before. You know, and I could, and just to show how different bare knuckle is than boxing, and it'll just be another. I think it'd be a perfect way for me to regain my belt. I really hope he wins in Spain because Trout is the guy that I want to be. He's the guy that beat the guy that pretended to beat me, and he's the guy that I want to be.
So I guess, do you foresee him defending against Rico Franco then?
I mean, he's a way better boxer than him. It really depends on what Rico does. If Rico tries to box him, he's gonna lose. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how hard you hit in bare knuckle. It doesn't really matter how big you are in bare knuckle. It doesn't really matter. It's all about skill. Trout is a very skilled fighter, and if Trout makes him box with him, he's gonna lose. I know when I've seen Trout fight, I've seen his boxing fights. I know he's a boxer. He's a technical boxer. He's not a fighter. If you try to box him, it's gonna be real hard. But whenever me and him finally meet, we're not gonna box, and I'm gonna make sure we fight.
It just kind of is interesting because you were talking about the similar kind of mentality with your Garcia fight, like just in terms of showing the experienced gloved boxer that bare knuckle is a different game.
Different, yeah. When I fought Garcia, I had my shirt said "Welcome to BKFC" because he's like, hey, I spar with some of the best fighters in the world. I with Mayweather, and I fought some of the best guys. I'm a world champion. I fought the world. This guy can't show me anything I never seen before. I'm like, buddy, you think we're gonna box, don't you? And when the fight ended, they're like, whoa, I thought we were gonna box. I'm like, no, man. No, that's not how we play. We're doing it different. It got real ugly in there. It was grimy. I wanted to bleed. When the fight ended, I was bleeding. I was happy because that's what I wanted. It was a great fight for me. I was tired. It was really the hardest, probably the most challenging fight that I've had. If you watch that fight, I was tired. You never see me that tired. The ref was like, "Why are you tired?" Because the ref, I have 10 bare knuckle fights. No one sees me. You never see that. I'm dying. But Julio Garcia is such a world class boxer that I'm like, I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna rough him up and I'm gonna get him tired. And I'm trying to rough him up, and I got tired. I'm like, holy crap, he's still not tired. It took a couple rounds to really settle him down, but it was a great fight. It was a nice brawl. It's one of my favorite fights that I've done. It was a great testament to bare knuckle. To me, it showed that bare knuckle is a different sport, and I like I said, I love the sport. And fighting a guy like Trout, yeah, especially somebody like me who's a part of the sport, who was trying to write the book on the sport, and we're still going to be participating in the sport for a long time. I would love to go out there and just beat the shit out of Trout and be like, damn, what was that? Like, bro, this is not boxing, man. This is not boxing. If it was boxing, man, she would have won hands down. But it's just he's a guy that's very jab dependent, because he's a boxer, and him being lefty, and if you take that jab away from him, then what's he gonna do? He has to fight. So it would be great. It would be great to do it. But I said it's one fight at a time. I already have my plans for Jake Lindsey. This should be very interesting. I said I'm glad everything's perfect. Like really, like I just want to go out there and perform. Jake Lindsey, he's gonna have to catch me. He's gonna have to stop me. That's the only way. He's not winning a decision. We're not going to a decision. Somebody's gonna get hurt bad.
Yeah, I mean, if anyone's seen you two fight, they can definitely attest to that. But it just must be so exciting. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. No, just the styles you bring. Yeah, but I was gonna say, like, your passion has obviously been a topic throughout this conversation for the sport. It must be cool to kind of be in the position you're in. I mean, I mentioned the fact that you were BKFC's first welterweight champion, been fighting with them since BKFC 3. Like, so seeing some of the earlier interviews where you were kind of like describing how everyone was almost on that kind of amateur learning curve, just in as far as
Yeah,
everyone's figuring it out in real time. Like just a cool
yeah,
journey from then to now, like so many different permutations in the relatively short modern history of the sport.
yeah, no, yeah, and then there's a steadfast psychological barrier for bare knuckle. Okay, most people don't come back after like 1 or 2 fights. You know, once a guy's been there 1 5, 3, 4, 5, 6 times, they're already kind of a different kind of fighter. Whether they're good or not, they're already kind of a different kind of fighter. Um, and so there's a psychological barrier for bare knuckle. Bare knuckle is real scary, especially the first fight. I mean, it is just like the amateur days. If you ever fought amateur that first day, you put your gloves on. We don't even have gloves. We're like, there's no gloves. Yeah, there's no gloves on. When I fought BKFC 3, they ran out of stitches. Uh, Christine Ferreira fought right before I fought, and she caused one of the worst injuries I ever seen on somebody's face before. Right before I went out, and they ran out of stitches. There was so many people getting beat up because the sport's so different. Like everybody's going out there like it was a regular fight, like it's a gloved fight. Get split up. And I was like, whoa, this is crazy. And then I had that fight with Harris Stevenson. I got knocked out of the night. It was really almost like we were like PTSD for like a week or two. It was like, whoa, like what are we doing? And they're like, hey, do you want to do it again? I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know if I want to do this again. I needed the money. That's why I came back. But when I fought Caleb Harris the first time, I didn't need the money. That was the first time I fought where I didn't need the money. My wife's like, hey, you don't need the money for this fight. And she's like, take the fight. Now is the time to fight, and that's just pretty much what I've been running on. Now, yeah, obviously, I've been fighting for 10 fights, and my relationship with, I demand to get respected by the promotion that I fight for because I'm not only am I a good fighter, but I also make other fighters better. I'm good for the promotion, but that's not what I fight for. Um, I have a team, I have a family, I have this plans for the future. I have all these different things that are hanging on my victories or defeats, and it's a huge burden for me. But that's why I'm the one that's carrying them because that's my role, and I'm glad to do it. And all my friends know, especially the guys that fight with me. They know what kind of person that I am, and I know that they can't wait for me to show up over there in August.
Yeah, it's been a great journey to follow with like the jungle camp and everything like
Yes.
that, and the work with Lorenzo Hunt. And I mean, there's so many great people like David
Oh man,
Simpson,
listen,
Britton Hart over the years. Yeah.
when I fought for my belt, and it was like a 6 week training camp. Joy Beltran, Britton Hart, Lorenzo Hunt, Christopher Lawrence, and Andrew, and we had a driver uh, driving us everywhere. And for 6 weeks straight, we was just grind. Those are the guys that I was sparring with, but it was that was like a dream team. It was awesome, and it was a huge. It wasn't the first group of guys that I've been here, but it was an awesome experience. We all build ourselves up, and going into my fight into my first title fight, I was the best 165 pounder in the world. Nobody could beat me that night, you know. You know, I was unbeatable that night. You couldn't hit me hard enough. You couldn't stop. Caleb Harris broke my teeth, and I was laughing about it.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, not to
Yeah.
get like too much into this, but I thought it was kind of telling just like the team dynamics and loyalty in the wake of what happened with the Lorenzo Hunt Knucklemania
Yeah,
drug
well,
tests there. And you're just like, you know what? If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But like, I know this guy's character and the
yeah,
dust
well,
will
because
settle.
Lorenzo's
And
more than
yeah,
just a teammate. Lorenzo's like my brother. We know each other real well, more than we know each other a lot. We spent a lot of time with each other. We know a lot of our fears and things in our dreams, the things that we know a lot of things about each other. And I just I could be wrong, but I just I know about what's going on with the California Commission too, and they're gangsters. You know, uh, I'm backing Lorenzo up all the way. So I would never go against Lorenzo unless he wouldn't even be. We wouldn't even be friends like the way we are if he was a juicer. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't ride for him the way if he was a juicer. I wouldn't ride for him the way that I ride for him. When I went out, I had just fought. When I went out to LA, I just fought. I fought Saturday and I was sparring Tuesday, and I went, and then boom, the next week I was gone. And I was just, I wouldn't do that for somebody that it's not for the money. My wife didn't want me to go. But I gotta go. I have to be there. So I'm with Lorenzo. I know a couple of things back. I don't even want to say too much about it, but
Sure.
I know Lorenzo's a clean fighter. It's a shame that they're discrediting his work. And honestly, he's been with me for so long. It's like shit. You might as well say I'm juicing too. Because I mean, you might as well say everybody in the jungle camp's juicing. We got a lot.
Well, it looks like Elvin Brito just fell out of the call, but very excited to be checking out his upcoming fight with Jake Lindsey at this looming BKFC card, which is going down in Kansas. Certainly a bout that'll really inform that welterweight title hierarchy. And it was great getting to have him on Bare Knuckle Bowker. It's been a little bit since I last spoke to him, probably about 2 years or so at this juncture, but very much looking forward to seeing him knuckle up and toe the line against Jake Lindsey. Brito being a former welterweight champion, taking on a former welterweight title challenger in Jake Lindsey. And yeah, super excited to see that on August 16th. And thank you for tuning in to Bare Knuckle Bowker. It's always a pleasure having your time.